Good morning and welcome. You're with us here on the Business Today show. From AI and jobs to trade and tariffs, India's growth story is at a defining moment. On the sidelines of the World Economic Forum annual meeting in Davos, at BT Davos 2026, Siddharth Zarabi, Group Editor Business Today, spoke exclusively with Ananya Birla, Director, Aditya Birla Group. She shares her views on AI-led transformation, women's workforce participation, financial inclusion, and India's path to becoming Vixit Bharat. Calling India the place to be for global investors and entrepreneurs. Listen in.
This is Brainstorm 2026, as we call our coverage from here. And I'm wondering, in the time that you've been here, what are the initial few strands of thoughts and developments that you're picking up on the ground here at Davos?
Thank you so much for having me. It's really beautiful. You guys have chosen a fantastic spot, and it's literally freezing. So, it's been great. I attended the 7:30 session. I've been super keen about this. A couple of priorities for this year. I think, AI is really transforming things quite rapidly. And we don't quite know where or how the landscape of this may change. Currently, our group, the Aditya Birla Group, stands at a market cap of 115 billion USD as of March 2025. We span across 41 countries. Global trading, for example, is 80 countries, 20 plus sectors. So it's a very interesting time for us to really understand what's the best way to go about global integration. I think human capital has become more important than ever. How does one train the workforce to become more productive so that there is no crunch in the labor force, so that there is no suffering of the middle class in any way, right. So that productivity goes up and there is no redundancy of human capital, right? So there is a little bit of a moral dilemma when it comes to AI, and we want to make sure that we make the most of AI to increase our human efficiency and productivity, and not in any way make anything that we are doing in terms of employment redundant.
That's a good point that you make, because there are fears about the impact of AI on the labor markets, and for a country like India, you're absolutely right. It's a very significant point.
And also because our group is across, like 41% of our operations are outside of India, which means that global integration has become very, very, very important. More important than it probably has ever been. So a huge question that we're asking ourselves is, how do we go about doing that in the best way possible across 20 plus sectors?
Absolutely. And one of the points right here yesterday in our coverage that came out was about not just American companies investing in India. This point that came up was that the group, Aditya Birla Group, is also one of the largest Indian investors in the United States. And in the context of the US wanting more inbound investment, you know what is happening. What's your sense with such a wide span of businesses and geographical coverage? How significant is the trade-related disruption that businesses are seeing? Also, the fact that we continue to have 50% tariffs on Indian exports to the United States.
Yeah. I think from a global trade point of view, from Aditya Birla Global Trading, we're still very much reliant on WTO. And I know the United States has said something about, has offered some reforms, so we'll see where that goes. As long-term investors, for whoever's a long-term investor across the world, I think India is the market to be. We have the highest working population. We are the fastest in terms of CAGR as well. We're the fastest moving. Short term, of course, right now there's a lot of volatility, and we'll have to wait and watch and see where that goes. But I think India is the place to be. India is the place to invest from a long-term point of view. And it is a very, very, very exciting time for us. As the Prime Minister also mentioned, Vixit Bharat 2047. So whether that comes to companies like Swatantra, where inclusion becomes more important than ever. Again, coming back to AI, some people are going to be able to, given how diverse we are as a country, some people are going to be able to really adapt to this new way of working, and some people are going to struggle with it. So bringing women into the formal banking
credit system.
Absolutely becomes more important than ever. Infrastructure, right? Aditya Birla real estate, which I lead, our CAGR was 92%. So infrastructure is extremely important for us as a country as well. Of course, policies as well. But so there's a lot going on. There are a lot of moving parts.
Watch the full exclusive interview on Business Today and India Today on our social media platforms as well. All right, let's take a quick.
Siddharth Zarabi, and with me, Ananya Birla, director of the Aditya Birla Group.
A couple of priorities for this year. I think, AI is really transforming things. It's a very interesting time for us to really understand what's the best way to go about global integration. I think human capital has become more important than ever. We haven't even understood the level of disruption or I would say evolution that AI can create. We are at the right place at the right time.
Hello.
Just counting down to market opening, let me bring in my colleague Shailendra Bhatnagar as well. Shail, good morning. What's the setup looking like today?
Well, Abha, I'm hoping for a slight bounce on the Nifty.
Okay, I've lost Shail's audio there. Well, Shail's hoping for a slight bounce, but pre-opens indicating a soft start right now, at least on opening ticks, 38,001. We've got on the IT index, let's pull up the Nifty as well, 25,141. Just 10 seconds to go. Let's see how things open up this morning. Remember, we've really been operating in the context of very uncertain geopolitical climate. So it's really a lot of safe haven buying that we're seeing on metals right now, but otherwise soft on the index overall. Earnings also have been a mixed bag. Nifty is just about flat on open, 25,000. I'll just pull that up for you again in just a minute. 25,231 or thereabout is where we're trading on the Nifty. So it's just about flat. Nifty Bank is just down 0.2% right now as well. Okay, I think we've got Shail back. Shail, you were talking about a potential bounce. We're trading pretty much flat on opening ticks at the moment.
Yes. Well, we'll wait for this at 25,200 to gain strength. 12 days of losses, 1,300 points gone in the Nifty. We are on 200-day moving average, Abha. This is a time not to be short in the market, but to be optimistic and hope that all these bad things will pass.
All right, so hang in there is really what Shail is saying right now. Let's pull up some of those gainers and losers for you as well. Take a look at what else is moving this morning, if anything at all. Like I said, soft start overall and some green ticks, okay, on an Eternal up 2%, Sun Pharma, Dr. Reddy's, a bit of pharma action coming in there this morning, which is unusual. Let's also look up we've got Coal India, Geofin, GSW Steel that are also buzzing on the downside. Bharti, Apollo Hospitals, Infy's taking a breather. Eternal, of course, it's earnings action. So we've got expectations of a strong earnings season this time around. I think they're expected to report today. So that's why we're seeing some amount of action coming in there. But otherwise, some of the other stocks, they're trading quieter. All right, Shail's going to have it his way. Markets are moving into the green as we speak. 25,242 is where we're trading at right now. So starting to come around. Look at that smile, Shail. It is nice to see a spot of green after weeks and weeks of red on opening.
I'm telling you, absolutely. I'm telling you how difficult it is to maintain your positivity in this kind of a market.
Absolutely.
We are falling like 9 pins. Everybody is selling quality stocks to get into gold and silver. And I'm telling you, I'm reminded of 1998-2000 when we had this very narrow bull market only in the tech stocks. You were selling the likes of Hindustan Lever, Nestle to buy into companies like Silverline and DSQ Software. That ended very painfully. The same thing is happening into gold and silver. People are selling quality blue chips to buy that. Be very careful. And the bounce is on the way. 25,200 is protected. Let's see what happens from 200-day DMA. Abha.
All right, so that's those are some of the tech signals to watch out for as well. Let's bring you some other big excerpts coming in terms of conversations from Davos. At the 29th Global CEO Survey, PwC India chairperson Sanjeev Krishnan highlighted India Inc.'s resilience amid the muted global growth scenario. And while confidence in India remains strong, CEOs did flag caution on AI adoption and stressed on trust, sustainability, and productivity as key priorities ahead. Listen in.
One of the things that you'll see when I talk about the findings is the resilience that India has shown right across 2025. That comes through. And the focus on doing things more Indian, if I may, I think that's also coming through. So let me quickly take you through the findings. Interestingly, 45%, and that's a very distinctly lower number than previous years, of Indian CEOs seem to be, very sanguine about global growth. In fact, 77% of Indian CEOs believe that largely India will grow, but the global growth is going to be muted. And I think that's a very, that's a bit of a departure from what we have seen in previous years. So there is clearly a focus on India. And I think, you can see a bunch of reforms that happened in India, and the fact that India was resilient is actually coming through in the survey responses that we got this year. I think the other thing which is coming through when we look at the responses from the global CEOs is that India today ranks very favorably from an investment destination standpoint. In fact, India is a joint second with Germany and UK as an investment destination when the global CEOs have been polled. US, of course, remains the top destination from that standpoint. I dare say that while Germany and UK have always been in developed markets have always been key contenders, the growth in India has been almost double. So the global CEOs who are saying that India is net positive has actually doubled over the last 1 year, and I think that's something that we should acknowledge. Again, I'll attribute it to the reform journey that we have had. I think the third one, clearly, there's a lot of work to be done, and that is acknowledged by the survey as well. When it comes to things like AI, I think the adoption of Indian CEOs has been a bit slow, has been a bit muted. There is certain anxiety that they have. 66% of them exhibited some amount of anxiety as to how they can create outcomes on AI. If you look at it globally, only 12% of global CEOs are saying that they actually got revenue and profit outcomes from AI. So it's an evolving space, and it's pretty young. But the Indian CEOs clearly seem a little bit more anxious about what it would mean for them, both from a demand generation standpoint and from a process standpoint in the years ahead. And let me just quickly talk about two more topics, and then we can come back. I think the first one really is when we look at trust, and I think that is a big thing because there has been this huge discussion 2 years back. Siddharth, you were sitting here and we were talking about sustainability and so on and so forth. I think how we can be more trustworthy and create more responsible organizations is coming through in many of the conversations. And a lot of Indian CEOs have felt that delivering the change at the pace at which the disruptions are coming to them will require embedding trust in everything that they do, including sustainability. So it is not gone out of the window. I mean, one of the questions that gets asked is that, is sustainability out of the window? It is not, but it certainly requires significant amount of trust building in the face of significant disruptions that are coming through. And I think the final one, as we see the India opportunity is clearly alive and kicking, but there are certain areas where clearly there is more work to be done. And two, which I will just reflect on, maybe we'll get the panelists as well, is one, enhancement of productivity, and the fact that we need to scale businesses and opportunities, not just do some sandbox experiments. So those are the five.
Well, from geopolitics to tariffs and trade disruptions, uncertainty is the dominant mood at Davos this year. How are global manufacturers navigating these headwinds? At Davos, Business Today's group editor Siddharth Zarabi caught up with Amit, Vice Chairperson and Joint MD of Bharat Forge, on trade risks, defense opportunities, and India's growth story.
The whole rearm Europe, very interesting terminology that you have used for the benefit of our Indian viewers who may not have followed it. How large is that opportunity, and also within that for Indian firms like yours?
Look, so the Europe is about 18 trillion GDP, the EU. And if you're talking anywhere between 2.5% to 4%, you're talking about 400 to 800 billion. And they're currently spending less than 200. Okay, so there's a huge capex requirement, there's a huge opex requirement, so it's a huge amount, and there is no way that they're going to be able to do that by themselves. I mean, you're already seeing a lot of, issues happening. I read just this morning that Colombia was supposed to buy the Rafales, and they have last minute switched and are looking at buying the Gripen or something like that, or they're talking to Saab to buy the Gripen, I don't know. But you're just seeing a lot of rebalancing taking place or reorientation taking place to find countries that can give you more 360-degree support and not just defense. They need political support, they need other support. So I think this whole game is going to get changed, and the Indian government also needs to understand this, that if we need to be an export player and we need to be a global player, we also need to use our political connect, our financial connect and financial wherewithal to support our defense industries in areas which are of strategic interest.
What would that support, if you were to just identify one support?
Line of credit. Very simple. Line of credit, and China has been doing that. China has been giving line of credit and building infrastructure and supplying equipment and infrastructure and building projects all over the world, right from Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, China, Africa, and some parts of Europe as well. And let's face it, we are competing with them. We're the only two countries with a 1 billion plus population, and at the end of the day, the 1 billion people have the same needs.
The Indian opportunity, and I want to contextualize it with Operation Sindoor, because that is in the public imagination. Post Sindoor, do you see a difference in the acquirers, and which is primarily our armed forces, the three services, in terms of their approach to building up capacity wherever it may have been found wanting, and also preparing for any future conflicts?
Absolutely. I think everybody now realizes what we're up against and what is the technology that we're up against and how do we need to counter that. So clearly, whether it's going to be Make India, Buy and Make India, or make, with partners in India, or, partner with DRDO to make in India, is all now accelerated. There are now, let's say, short lists of things that are on priority that need to be done. And I think there's a lot more clarity and urgency as well.
All right, as you can see, there's some breaking news on your screen with Trump's Air Force One having had a electrical snag and actually returning to the US. We'll wait for some more updates there and for some of the news to unfold on that front. But remember, he was meant to be landing in Davos today and had taken off from Maryland. But currently, Air Force One is on its way back from Davos or to the US. And remember, of course, this is in the context of the backdrop of his threats towards Greenland and rising escalation in Europe as well on the back of those threats. All right, we'll leave it there this morning. Markets right now are in the green. Nifty is just marginally up, just a touch. I think some focus will remain on earnings today as we watch out for some key stocks that will be reporting, and we'll take our cues from there. We'll be back at 3 o'clock to get you all the action on market closing. Thanks for watching.